Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an Elliott Wave update for CHAINLINK. In this video, I'm going to go over the smaller term time frames as well as the larger time frames on the macro to show you my eventual targets if this ends up playing out as an impulse for alt season. Now, off the low back in June of 23, have this as a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to complete a wave 1 of the larger degree. Now, this was a very nice impulse. Our wave 2 came between the 618 and the 786, common target for our wave 2. Our third wave is clearly extended, nice separation. We got our fourth wave between the 236 and the 382, where we expect our fourth wave. We did have an extended third wave, and we hit the 1-to-1 extension, where wave 5 equaled wave 1. Now, after that, we look for a correction between the 50 and the 786 of the entire move to the upside, this 5-wave move, which we got right here. I mentioned this in a lot of videos. Look at your golden zone trade. 618, stop at the 66. You'd still be in that if you had a buy order set there all the way from back in time over here. Now, that is the ideal trade setup for the algo trade. That's not necessarily a Elliott wave trade, but I usually take those on a larger time frame when I can. Now we need to discuss the smaller time frames here. One last thing of note out on this larger time frame is if we actually get a true third wave on log scale, which is my anticipation for alt season, we're talking about a move up to 93.96 just for the third wave after this wave 1 and 2. Think of a larger version of this micro third wave in this setup. So that's what we're looking for. And if this just turns into being corrective, this would be an A, B, C up to the 1-to-1 at around 36.81. Now, if we do get a third wave, we expect a lot of volume and a steeper angle than this first wave 1. So that'll give us some indications of what to expect. Let's go down to this area right here. And remember, we need to hold this low to keep all these bullish counts intact. So for all these counts, we need this low at 808 to hold. Now, the most bullish count, I'm just giving you this because I've seen this happen before. It is very ugly. It is low probability, but there is a chance it happens. And that is, I remember this area counting it a while ago at last videos. It was very difficult, but our direction was to the upside. And the way I have this counted is as a wave 1, very long wave 2, as a WXY combination, and our wave 3 to the upside, lots of separation, wave 4 and 5. You can see the issue with that already, I'm sure, the length of wave 4 compared to wave 2, but we do technically have 5 waves in there. Now, I don't like this count. I'm only going to switch to it if my primary doesn't hold true. This is my alternate bullish count, and in which case we'd have a complex combination as well here, similar to this wave 2. This is also why I'm considering it an option. You tend to see fractals within a certain asset, right? It is very similar, as you can see, just a larger version. So that being the case, I have to consider the fact that we could get a repeating pattern here. So that would be my bullish scenario. In that scenario, this would be 1 and 2. This would be a 1 and 2 of a smaller degree, and we'd look for upside for our third wave. Targets for that would be the 1.618, eventually all the way up at 21, correction back to around 16 for our fourth, and finally our fifth wave. So that's my most bullish scenario. In that scenario, we would have our wave 1 and 2 in over here of one lesser degree, and we'd be looking for our third of a third, like so. So in this trade setup, obviously this should hold if our wave 2 is complete. Complete invalidation of this count is at this wave, beginning of this wave 1. So that is the trade setups I would look for if I personally were going to trade this one at the moment. Where'd that go? So might want to wait for a pullback here if you choose to take it, but it would be something like that. And I'd eventually be targeting that third wave at around $21. Up here, it's about a 10 to 1 right now. So the only reason I have this like this is because of this fractal, as you can see. And it does have technically a 5-wave move, although very ugly. I will totally agree with you. So let me just move these. Okay. Second is a diagonal. This one is fitting better as for guidelines. And how this would end up panning out is we are in the midst of a wave 5 within a diagonal. Now, if we take the beginning of wave 1, this would be something more complex, most likely a double zigzag to fit the wave count. So we have a wave 1, 2, deep retracement, 3, 4, 5. Now, you know, when I do diagonals, I look between the 618 and the 786 for our extended targets. That's the beginning of wave 1 off of wave 2, right in this zone. As you can see, we hit that. We then get our wave 4 pullback, looking for between the 618 and the 786 extension of wave 3. Now, invalidation of the diagonal is at 1434. So if we come past 1434 on this move to the upside, then I would switch to the more bullish count. That is invalidation of the diagonal. That is where wave 3 would end up being the shortest wave in this count. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for to get involved. I'm not currently in this. If we get a pullback here, I might consider getting in. I'm in quite a few trades right now. I don't want to over leverage myself in this spot, but I would be very interested if we got this one too, buying the pullback in this area. So expectations here is we hold this level and looking for a reversal right in this area, or maybe we get a little bit of overshoot here for the 5th wave before we come back in our correction. Now in this scenario, this would be our A wave as a diagonal. We'd have our B wave in, and we'd look for 5 waves up for the C wave. So this is just an A, B, C. So that's your magic price there, 1434. And looking for just an ABC here, then correction. And then eventually our huge 3rd wave to the upside. So that looks pretty good. And obviously if those levels break, this becomes a WXY complex combination here, and we're looking for more downside, and this correction gets extended in time and price. So I'm only interested in bullish scenarios right now because I believe alt season is starting. But all invalidations here on both these counts is this wave 4 is labeled, and that would be the wave 1, 2, 1, 2 on the bullish scenario. All right, guys, that's it for Chainlink. That's what I'm looking for. Not currently involved, but if we get a nice pullback here, looks like potentially 5 waves coming in here. If we get a nice ABC back, I might consider taking an entry there in case of that bullish scenario. All right, so can we get this 3rd wave started? 3, 4, 5, all the way up to $93 for our 3rd wave. Time will tell. It should happen pretty quickly. If it does, this would be like next year, late spring, early summer. All right, guys, that's it for Chainlink. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.